Hi, I'm Karim Rafaa. Welcome to Why It Matters. I'm here with Mandeep and Jaime. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Before we get started, could you maybe give our viewers a quick intro, maybe introduce yourselves?
Sure. I'm Mandeep Chopra, and I'm the founder of Limited Edition, which is a sneaker store.
I'm Jaime. I'm the managing director of Havaianas in several countries here in the Philippines and also head of innovation of our company.
Well, gentlemen, you're both in footwear and you have very different products. So, Mandeep, you're more on a niche sort of product with custom footwear, and Jaime, a mainstream product, and you both diversify in very different ways. Can you maybe tell us a bit more about how you see the online market space taking over physical retail stores, which you both have, and which advantages in both cases?
I think the online thing has been both of a big threat plus an opportunity. It's definitely changed the way we have to look at things for us. Now there's just so many different avenues for people to get their product, right? And our product is sought after product for a lot of the part, and and the consumer is that savvy consumer, right? So that consumer is going to get their product whichever way they can, and online has been a really convenient method for them to do that. Hey, why do I have to queue up? Why do I have to do a lucky draw ballot? If I can just get it online. So it's kind of changed up things in a lot of ways, and I think for us is how do we give that convenience to consumers also, where they can also buy online. And so that's why I say it's an opportunity also for us to see how we can connect to that consumer online too, which maybe in the past we haven't done so much because we've struggled. I think we just now were talking. I struggled with so much things like overselling and bots and all that. But how do we solve all these things and then reach out to that consumer?
Yeah, so I mean, similar to Mandeep as well. In footwear, the whole idea is how to engage with our customers online, make it still meaningful for them. I think where we're different and where our challenge comes from is that we're very much of a mainstream, high-volume product. And it's easy to find a product everywhere. So the challenge that e-commerce has actually pressured us on was the fact that we're not the only sellers of Havaianas that you can get. There's other suppliers as well. So our competition is essentially against others with the same brand. So it's a very different approach that we have. When we're trying to create volume sales, but at the same time trying to create an experience for a mainstream product that is also supplied through other channels, takes a lot of effort in branding and customer experience and customer relationship. So that's kind of where we're focused on, because e-commerce is obviously here to stay. And how do we make it work for us is what we're working on very hard.
So first thing that comes to my head as to why I would go into a shop to try on a pair of shoes or slippers is mostly a sizing thing. Like, how do I know which size I am, and do I want to go through the struggle of sending back a shoe or a slipper that doesn't fit and waiting for a new one? I mean, we are in the right now everything generation of retailers, of consumers, sorry.
Yes.
So what other challenges or what other opportunities do you see really to get people to come into your stores?
I think for us is just constantly evolving to give people an experience to come into the stores. I mean, trust me, whatever you just said makes so much sense. We have people coming into the stores just to try their size and then buying online. And I think that price sensitivity thing is, and I'm sure you face it also, and you said there's so many suppliers, and it's in a way there's a lot of similarities also. There are a lot of suppliers, but of course when you come to limited product, it's going to be that wherever they can get it from, they would get it right away. But I mean, for us, it's how do we give people a bit more experience coming into the store, whether it's, I wouldn't want to say forcing them to come to the store, but giving them every reason to want to come into the store and just getting that first-hand touch and feel still of it, and maybe I want to change my size, but then online it's going to be even more of a hassle to change the size online, right?
Wouldn't it actually make sense to not have an online store and just force people to come in, have an online catalog, and just?
I mean, so in a way we could do that if the product was really super limited, but again, now with the whole online world, you can get it from anywhere. If you don't give people that convenience, then they're just going to get it from somewhere else. Right, so I think it's something which we don't have a choice, but hey, where we can, and I'm always an advocate of the retail store, just be in it, and I want to see people, and if there's any chance where we could just get people into the store, and it has to be a limited product where people come into the store, whether I'm going to enter a lucky draw to come, at least to get the experience. And we have these whole nice digital screens where people can go there, even take a picture of themselves wearing that product. Even if you don't get that product, you can actually take a picture and share it and see how you look at it. So it's still giving people an experience somehow.
Yeah. No, Mandeep's absolutely right. I mean, we get a lot of showroomers, folks coming in, trying it on for size, and then going and buying it online, right? And I think we've come to the realization that in the past, we were really able to dictate where people could buy our products, at what price. They're not necessarily listening to us anymore. They're listening to each other or to
There's so many
others,
avenues
right?
where they listen to.
Exactly.
Social media it's this everybody's fighting for attention somehow, right? And it's definitely become much more difficult.
Yeah.
And again, you can't dictate anymore.
The way I approach things, because I'm not as good as they are in terms of merchandising or marketing or branding, I try to solve things through technology, through processes, through more efficiencies. I try to cut the cost out because honestly, Havaianas sell for $30, so there's not a lot of margin we can make from a product like that. So we've really got to be very, very efficient in things. And so what I focus on is trying to get our systems to talk to each other. So for example, someone that goes online that wants to buy it but isn't sure about their size, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we capture them so that they come to our store, but they still buy us online. So this whole thing about purchase online but pick up offline and try on is actually quite a popular channel. But that means that we have to connect our e-commerce systems with our POS systems, with our CRM systems. So that's kind of where I do a lot of the plumbing to connect everything.
I think I can learn from you. I mean, whatever you say makes a lot of sense. And we're trying to marry both worlds.
Yes.
Right? And
it's not easy.
It's not easy, but it's really interesting when you say that because we have an online store, but maybe I would say 50% actually choose to pick up in store rather than
exactly.
being delivered. Maybe just to be sure, or hey, maybe I'm not home at that moment. I want to choose when I want to collect. I don't really have the answers on why such a high percentage, but it's really interesting.
You do use AI, Jaime, to a certain extent in your stores, I believe. Is that right?
So we do, but because I have a background as well in technology, I've been trying to use AI to create more efficiencies in our systems. So we're using it for some pretty fancy stuff. But it's all very POC testing right now. So for example, when we purchase our stock from the manufacturer, from the supplier, there's a very long time lag between the time we order and by the time it gets to our stores and by the time we sell it. So I don't know whether I ordered the right things in the right quantities. And so we have a human called a merchandiser that does that. But actually all of this can be data sized and have a machine kind of help that decision. So we're using AI to help make smarter decisions in terms of purchasing, in terms of making recommendations in store, because actually there's kind of a cool quote. Amazon is now generating 30% of their sales from their recommendations online. So if we could somehow replicate the ability for our staff to make the right recommendations, because I was talking to Mandeep earlier, it's really hard to get really good sales staff that are in love with the product, but are also good salespeople and that are real sneakerheads, right? Or Havaianistas, for example. So how do we replicate these people? It's quite hard. So we're hoping that AI can help us, find and optimize those type of things.
Which runs almost in parallel with limited edition sneakers and custom sneakers, collab sneakers. How do you know what's going to be trendy, what's not? I mean, as much as cool things are coming out all the time, not everything that actually gets thrown out there makes it, right?
Let's just say I've run really that traditional model the whole way. But, I'm not saying that's wrong either. It's like, with that fashion and trends change so fast, right? What could have been hot or what you think you could have bought, this quantity 6 months ago, literally now it's a whole new. So I think a lot of things over the years I've run on gut feel. But, I think it's just been a really hands-on thing all this while, which I think I've reached that point in my life, I can't handle it really. This is too much product. So I think that's where I might have to, I don't have a choice. I really if I can get, I'm not saying all the data, you use it 100%, but even if you take the good things from that data and, you find trends and all that, I think that's what probably we might have to do just because it's just too much product right now. Nobody can keep up. Right? Every brand is just churning out so much product, and that's why we have so many stores just cater to different ranges of product. So it's a tough job. So if data analytics, AI can help in that whole process, it's something which I think I got no choice but to look into also.
Yeah, it's funny because when I'm not typically from fashion, I got into it later, and I realized that there really is an art in terms of merchandising and understanding the trends and understanding what's cool and what's not. I certainly don't have that knack, and that's why I'm trying to solve it through science. But there certainly is a very, very important art to it. The right side or left brain, right brain, I think need to work together to solve these problems.
It is such a fast-changing world. I mean, some things get instant hype so fast. Was it the IKEA bag from the Balenciaga bag? And all of a sudden, IKEA was all over the place, partnered with Virgil Abloh. And that happens so quickly, and it's hard to anticipate. It'd be very interesting to see the art side working with the science side and see if there's somewhere to forget.
How do you replicate the relationships of what you get in a physical store, and if you can do that online, and whether you use AI and different things, is, how do you, and you say giving their recommendations, it's everything happens in that physical world also, where a consumer comes in and, hey, can you show me what's cool, what's hot, but how can you also use that and if we're really going to embrace the whole e-commerce kind of thing, I think that's what we got to do, and still build those relationships somehow, and I that's what I probably got to learn a lot.
So with all this in mind, I mean, like you said, there are limitations to how you can style, how you can get that gut feeling that only really a human can produce. And then again, the advantage there would be if we could somehow get close to that with the tech. There's so much to do, and it's such an exciting time to be here. I mean, I'm really looking forward to where we're going to go with this. Gentlemen, I'm afraid that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for coming, Mandeep.
Thank you so much.
Jaime, it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Likewise.
Thank you all for tuning in today. This was Why It Matters, and see you soon.